Josh Norris, Director of Content for Underdog Sports, what he likes and why he's so high on Denzel Boston.
He just plays to size, 6'4 plus, and just these defenders would bounce off of him. And I think a lot of people, because of that size, will say, well, you can just line him at X, and he can be a sacrificial player at times and, alter coverage and take the best outside corner and all that. He gets a couple high point catches here or there and all that. When in reality, at Washington, they built the passing attack around him. They were moving inside. They were moving outside. So I actually think he and Concepcion, despite being somewhat different, builds, they can be, utilized in tandem, in stacks, in motion. You can line up Boston on the inside and work in that coverage and in that department. And while it might not be the most aesthetically pleasing mover out there like Concepcion is, I just think Denzel Boston knows the areas where he wins, and he will dunk on you once you get to the red zone. And he works these intermediate routes. He works inside breakers too. And I really do think that those are the areas where Todd Monken is going to be at his best, is sucking people in play action, work over the middle to both Casey Concepcion, who can win after the catch, and also Denzel Boston into those tight window targets.
So, G. Bush, I thought he moved pretty well, just watching the big body kind of move and run routes. You put him out at X, and you're creating space for Harold Fannin and Casey Concepcion and Jerry Jeudy, because you can't cheat off of the guy.
You can't. Listen, you now put yourself where everybody going to play you straight up. And, as the offseason goes, I'm a little bit of a football junkie. I go back and watch these games, and I go watch the All-22. And I was watching just the other day. I was watching the All-22, and I believe it was the last game of the year. Oh, no, it was against the Buffalo Bills. And you just watch how the Buffalo Bills played the Cleveland Browns defensively. The Browns line was so bad that they had to keep tight ends in to just pass protect. And then that let the cornerbacks and the defensive backs in the secondary be able to just look completely at the wide receivers. And then the wide receivers and Jerry Jeudy and Malachi Corley, there were no deep routes. There was no separation. There was none of that. Like it was one of those things where it was like, you had to keep tight ends in. You had to make them block. You had to do certain things just to make the offense viable, to snap the ball and give yourself a chance to just put a couple of people in the routes. And I looked at that and said, man, what a difference a day makes. What a difference a couple of months makes. Because now you take a look at that, and as you pointed out, you can't do any of that. You can't sit there and load up on guys up on a line of scrimmage. Sometimes the Cleveland Browns wanted to bring out two tight ends so that the defense would go to nickel coverage. Sometimes they would just come out and base. Like, think about that. They would come out and base three linebackers, and because they felt that the Browns could not victimize their three linebackers in coverage. So even if you did try to come out and fool them and say, okay, well, we're going to come out in this and you're going to have to go to nickel, and now we can run the ball. They're like, no, you can't run the ball because we're in base, and we're going to keep three linebackers in the game because we're still in base, and you can't victimize us in a passing game. That is all different now. Now you look at what Denzel Boston can do, and he is, he was astute in saying this. He's just not a run-trick pony. Like, don't act like that he's a dude out to the outside that's just gonna catch a back shoulder fades or jump balls, 50-50 passes in the end zone. He can run the intermediate route. He can win on the outside. They moved him around Washington to the slot. If you watch Washington and Polk and Dunze and some of the receivers that they've had, those guys in Washington, Kalen DeBoer, when he was there, they run all the route tree. So it's not going to be one of them things. Casey Concepcion can run the entire route tree. So when you add those things up, stacks, releases, motions, the guys you already have, Harold Fannin Jr., you already got Quinshawn Junkins. These are things that are going to be very difficult for the Cleveland people to stop the Cleveland Browns. And guess what, too? They still got defense. We ain't even talked about E-Man yet. Like, they just got we haven't even talked. That man could be a starter, and we got him on a humbug. I don't even know how we did it. I can't wait to the preseason. I need to see some preseason games. I need to see it now.